You're entering championship round. This is 5-Round MMA. I'm Guillermo Cita alongside Alex Ramirez and Albert Cita. Today's top headlines, we have Uriah Faber versus Michael McDonald. We have Nate Diaz versus Gray Maynard, but we begin with Dominic Cruz. Though he is still the bantamweight champion, Dominic Cruz has not fought in about 2 years. All hope is not lost, as Cruz and the UFC has slated an early 2014 return for the champion. Cruz is slated to fight the winner of the Renan Barão and Eddie Wineland. Your thoughts, and can he compete with the winner out of Renan Barão and Eddie Wineland after such a long break?
I mean, this story broke because Dana White said that if Cruz wasn't ready by early 2014,
he gets stripped.
They're going to strip him the title. So, I mean...
And Dominic Cruz ain't no stripper.
Yeah. So you might wait. Hopefully he's fully recovered and doesn't rush back to competition. But I think it should be an interesting fight.
Well, Albert says he's a good friend of Dominic Cruz, and he saw them.
I wouldn't say we're that. I mean, we're not gonna have dinner together, but we know each other.
Albert just kind of admires him from afar.
Yeah, we saw him this weekend at the Bellator event in Pechanga.
Yeah,
and he looked like he was walking just fine to me. He looked in shape.
Yeah,
he looked like he was ready to fight tomorrow.
He was walking around, but he wasn't bouncing like he usually does in the octagon.
But he looked good.
You think he can compete with Renan Barão or Eddie Wineland?
After the long layoff, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, yeah.
But
you can never count out that very big stand-up he has. I mean, LaReach.
Yeah.
I mean, it all takes into consideration. Even with the long layoff, I mean, if he can keep the distance, you don't really have to...
I mean, he had he tore his ACL, had surgery, didn't take, so he had another surgery again. So, like, who knows what kind of cardio he's been able to do and how he's kept himself in shape. So, I don't know. It's going to be tough road back, I think, for Dominic Cruz.
So let's move on to our next story. It's Uriah Faber versus Michael McDonald. Uriah will fight for the 4th time this year in his hometown of Sacramento. A fight between Michael McDonald has been announced for the UFC on Fox 9 co-main event held and will be held in December. Do you guys think Uriah Faber should get the title if he beats Michael McDonald?
He should be next in line. I think even
he
if
pretty
Cruz
much cleared the division again.
Yeah.
If Uriah Faber can beat Michael McDonald, he cleared the division twice.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I mean, he's been up against he has had a title fight like more than anybody
twice
but
already.
At the same time, it's like, what else can you do? If he clears the division twice, you got to give it to him, regardless of how the outcome was in the championship fight. Michael McDonald already had his chance too, so the argument can be the other way around.
Has Michael McDonald fought Dominic Cruz? Let's say Dominic Cruz comes back.
Yeah.
But Uriah Faber has fought Dominic Cruz.
But they're already slated to fight again anyways.
Well,
Cruz and Faber were scheduled to fight before Cruz got hurt. So.
And the other important key factor here is Uriah Faber does have a win over Cruz still.
Yeah.
So they're 1-1.
Yeah. You still need to see that rubber match.
But man, 4 fights in a year. I think if he wins his fight, hands down, fight of the year. I think, right?
Yeah.
And then with the steam,
regardless,
and the way the Alpha Male's been going, I mean, this could be it. This could be his first UFC belt right here.
Yeah. Once it was announced in Sacramento, it was pretty much like when, not if they're going to announce Uriah Faber on the card, and they announced it pretty quick.
I'm actually pretty shocked that they just gave Michael McDonald just say, hey, let's just go for number 1 right here.
Yeah.
Do you think his health will come into question now that he has 4 bouts potentially in
that guy's a beast, man.
Yeah.
The Alpha Male camp, they're all in shape.
Other than his last
besides
fight,
the shape, I'm talking about like injuries.
Other than his last fight where it looked like he kind of went to war.
Yeah.
The other fights haven't really taken a beating on his body.
But you have to include the training along with each training camp.
I think that's the one thing about these alpha males. I mean, even if they weren't fighting, they still train the same way.
Anyways,
I mean, if you look at their Instagram and their Twitter and thing, I mean, those guys are hitting the gym every day. They're sparring every day, as if they had a fight coming up.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next top headline. A bout between Nate Diaz, 16-9, and Greg Maynard, 11-2-1, has been set for the Ultimate Fighter Season 18 finale. Both fighters will be looking to bounce back from KO losses in their previous bouts. Is this match something you guys are looking forward
to? Maybe last year.
But are you still excited for Greg Maynard? Are you still excited for Nate Diaz?
Still excited? Yeah. Or was I ever excited for those two guys to fight?
It's obviously that you guys were not Nate Diaz fans, but you guys were big Greg Maynard fans. You guys were cheering for Greg Maynard to win the title over Frankie Edgar.
That was so much I didn't want to see Frankie Edgar win as opposed to Greg Maynard.
Clear. That's how much I dislike Frankie Edgar.
I thought you liked Greg Maynard's tattoos.
Whoa, I have never said that.
You say him and John Fitch probably have the best tattoos in the game.
I think he's a big fan of the tramp stamp on a guy. So, but I think it's just they needed 2 names on the top of the the main event for the Ultimate season, the Tough 18. I mean, as far as relevancy in the crowded 155 division, is probably just who's keep their head above water.
Yeah,
that's about it. Though.
I mean, just not to defend Gray Maynard that much, but I mean, he did lose to TJ Grant. I mean, that's not saying like, oh, dude, you suck.
Well, he's only lost to the top.
And then even though I'm not a Nate Diaz fan, I mean, Josh Thompson is no slouch either, and then the other loss was Benson Henderson.
It's the 155
division.
So
I mean, on their defense, it's still kind of relevant. They lost against named opponents. They lost against probably the top 3 of their division.
Yeah,
I think this is more of a way to kind of separate the top half from the bottom.
Well, it's
half.
almost like who wants it more, like who still wants to be relevant, a top guy in this division.
Who does not want to drop to 145?
You think there's a run still in the cards for either or?
I don't know, man.
Well, card at run at 155.
Well, I think it's hard for Nate Diaz more than Greg Maynard because Greg Maynard can at least make the argument, oh, I haven't fought really for the belt.
Yeah, well, and honestly,
Nate Diaz, I mean, he got a shot with Benson Henderson, and we saw what happened
there.
Well, Greg Maynard got a shot with Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, but that wasn't a whole different.
Yeah, but the thing is now that with the new champion, Anthony Pettis, you can make an argument that they can get to the title shot again, and especially
you
for
can
Nate
make
Diaz.
the argument that Gray Maynard could probably pose a challenge because I mean Clay Guida beat Anthony Pettis, and people still think maybe the ground game is the way to beat Anthony Pettis. I mean Benson Henderson ain't a caliber wrestler like Greg Maynard, so
that's true.
I mean if Gray Maynard wins, you can make the argument that maybe this is a good matchup to.
So you're saying that Greg Maynard has higher potential going on a run.
Well, if Nate Diaz wins, it's harder to make the argument because Nate Diaz is a stand-up guy, jiu-jitsu guy, and Anthony Pettis is pretty much that's his bread and butter too.
That's true. I think what hurts Nate Diaz is that the fact that he's already jumped up and down from welterweight to lightweight a couple times already, and before after he's lost to John Thompson, he was talking about dropping down again. So it's kind of like where Gray Maynard has been a staple in the 155 division for since his whole career in the UFC. So
couldn't say better.
Yeah, that's it for today's headlines.
All right, guys, so stick around. We'll have a recap of Bellator MMA and World Series of Fighting, so stick around.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com. So we had MMA outside of the UFC. We had MMA in Bellator, and we had MMA in World Series of Fighting. We'll start off with World Series of Fighting with Arlovsky being the main event. I mean, there was no other notable bouts that we want to talk about, but how did you guys see Arlovsky's win and performance? I
was surprised more that Arlovsky was winning a standing trade with Mike Kyle. Both of them stood in the middle of the cage and just swung the all 3 rounds. So it was a pretty entertaining fight. Arlovsky did get knocked down twice, but he was able to recover rather quickly, actually. And I think he got a much-needed decision victory. But kind of like Albert's point out, doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, especially because of the whole Anthony Rumble Johnson loss.
And he did call out Anthony Rumble Johnson afterwards. So.
I mean, and that's the best thing you can do because he kind of has to.
Well, he has to avenge that loss.
Yeah, he has to say, I'm the true heavyweight, and I'm the true. I mean, if he ever becomes a champion, it's not going to be real convincing because you lost against Rumble Johnson, who's a light heavyweight.
Yeah, I know. Like coming into the fight was Arlovsky's biggest question was his chin. Yeah, and I think he proved that
it still is.
And he in a recent
that long beard covers that.
In a recent interview, he said how mad he was because he said, "Look, Rumble Johnson broke my jaw maybe like in 2 places, and he still couldn't knock me out. So he hates that people still question his chin.
Question his chin. They broke.
Yeah. Well, before we leave World Series Fighting, it was also their middleweight championship tournament bracket.
Yeah.
And Dave Branch moves on to the finals. I'm pretty sure everyone's more into the welterweight tournament rather than this middleweight one.
Yeah.
So,
but World Series of Fighting is still building up their roster. So, but it's a good thing that they're on the right direction, crowning some champions.
So let's move on to Bellator 99. Let's go over some of the highlights. We had Patricio Pitbull KO Diego Nunes. Any thoughts on Patricio Pitbull and his rematch with I can't think of his name. Pat Curran.
Well, it's not official yet, but he seems to be on his
schedule on his schedule to win this featherweight tournament. Even though we saw plenty of good featherweights out there. I mean, Justin Wilcox made an awesome comeback. And so he's in the tournament. Pitbull has to fight Fabricio, who defeated Desmond Green.
Yeah.
And Fabricio, he looked all right. He didn't look his best, but he looked good. But it looks like Pitbull should make it to the finals. I mean, he did something to Diego Nunes that nobody else has done in the UFC. So
yeah,
I think that's saying something.
And he was punching him when he was going back too. It was like a little it looked like a tap, but he knocked him out.
Yeah. It didn't even look like he fully landed, but I guess it was enough. I mean, that guy must generate so much power. And then, again, Pitbull's only losses are to Pat Curran and Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, or is it Joe Warren?
Oh, yeah, no, Joe Warren.
Yeah.
So, and those guys are, I mean.
Yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see Bellator CEO Bjorn Ribby is really high on Patricio Pitbull.
The featherweights in general.
But I think it's almost like a good storyline to see, like, Pitbull was there at the top one time to fight for champion. He fell back down and he's climbing back up again. It's almost like you see in sports, like, for example, the Thunder in basketball, Oklahoma City. You see they're getting rise. They get to the Western Conference Finals. They lose. And you see the progression to make it to the finals. They lose, try and get back there. So it's kind of that kind of storyline which kind of comes through the Bellator tournament. So it'd be interesting to see if he can overcome the mountain of Pat Curran. So
yeah.
And then real quick, I'm pretty high on this guy. If you saw it on Facebook, whatever. I know I'm gonna butcher his name, but you gotta know it.
Okay.
What is it?
It's Gary Yamauchi.
That sounds about right.
Close enough.
He is a beast.
Featherweight, right? Yeah.
He's a featherweight. He's undefeated. And man, Gucci went in there and destroyed.
Gucci.
Goatee or Gucci?
Goatee.
He was on the prelim card.
It was
a
the prelim
card.
He was on Spike.com. So a lot of people probably wouldn't see him, but you need to go and check this kid out. I really see a future for him, and man, that guy was a beast.
He's pretty big and strong.
For a featherweight. Mock me now, but remember that. You remember this thing.
You'll remember the name
Yamamuchi.
Learn to pronounce it.
You'll learn how to pronounce it too.
Yeah, by his next fight, I will get this pronunciation right because this kid deserves to be around here.
We shall see.
So let's move on to the next fight that you guys want to talk about or highlight on Bellator 99, which is the Janitor versus Houston Alexander.
Well, we did have Houston Alexander last week, so I figured it would be proper to talk about this fight, even though there wasn't really much to talk about.
Yeah, I think it wasn't the fight people expected.
Yeah. Both of them were being cautious, I think.
Yeah,
Janitor was on the center.
Especially in the first round, there was too much respect going on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're both knockout artists, so it's kind of hard to, like, bash them when it's like, okay, I'm not going to step in and get KO for you guys, you know?
Yeah.
But Vladimir showed that his ground game still up to par. And,
I think he kept saying, even like pre-interviews and even at the post-press conference, that he wanted nothing more than to prove to fans and everybody that he could still compete.
Yeah,
he
showed that too. He showed that he's still an MMA fighter. I mean, he was good. He was good everywhere. He didn't look excellent everywhere, but he looked good in everywhere. And he said that he wants to enter the tournament, and he said that he's more than happy to.
Well, didn't Bajon Rebney say now that there's going to be a 4-man tournament?
He hinted at it because like somebody asked him a question about the depth at 205 in Bellator, and he wanted to say there was depth, but then he didn't want to really assign a full tournament to the 205 division. So he's all, maybe we'll probably just do another 4-man tournament for the light heavyweight division back in later time in January.
So does that sound good for the Janitor?
Yeah. So looking like the heavyweight's gonna be another 4-man tournament
the light heavyweight,
with the Janitor
probably like the Janitor, the loser of King Mo and Mount Newton, and then maybe 2 other guys will pick up because I don't think they're as deep in 205 as they want to pretend.
Well, no, I'm talking about
What about Tito Ortiz or Rampage? You guys see him in the tournament?
Yeah, well, Rampage said he didn't want to do the tournament.
Yeah, but I think
Tito might just for
I think if Rampage wins or try to convince him to enter a tournament, because look at it, if King Mo wins, then that's the other storyline. I mean, you have the Janitor on one side, Rampage, and
King Mo
and Newton, and then maybe Mamabu.
Yeah.
But the point is, I mean, it'll add to a storyline if Rampage can make it, and then we finally get to see King Mo versus Rampage.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean,
so besides that, that's the key fights we wanted to highlight. Is there any notable fights other than that? I mean, I know you mentioned a couple already.
Maguchi.
Which one you mentioned? I mentioned the Justin Wilcox comeback.
Great comfort behind a victory.
Yeah, I mean the guy.
Your good friend Josh Koscheck.
I
Justin Wilcox is a dethroned fighter. Trains with Josh Koscheck.
He trains with Josh Koscheck, and obviously you saw because it was his wrestling that made the comeback happen. Because I mean, with no legs, he was still would do a beautiful takedown, secure the back and rear naked choke, and I mean it was in the third round, and it looked like it was. I mean, sorry, in the second round. but it looked like it was game over because I mean the guy, it literally looked like his shin was broken.
Yeah. And Justin Wilcox took that fight on like what a week's
70. No, he said it's 7 days.
Yeah,
and he got a 7-day notice on.
He said
he
got the phone call, weighed himself. He was like what 160, 170, and got all the way down to 145.
145, yeah,
in 7 days.
And
he needs to show me that diet.
I also want to point this out. I mean, he is a packed 145. I mean, I don't know how you can put so much muscle in a 145 frame.
He's a big dude.
He was packing heat.
Well, he dropped all the water weight.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. Yep. Covering Bellator and covering World Series of Fighting. Stay tuned. We'll cover UFC 165. John Bone Jones versus Alex Gustafsson. Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com. UFC is back. We have UFC 165. John Bone Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson. So we begin with any prelim fight bouts that you guys want to highlight, mention. I know Bruce Leroy's on the card. Big fan.
Other than that, yeah.
We have a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to go into too deep, but just real quick, I do want to point out Stephen Thompson's on the card. He's a very exciting stand-up fighter. His UFC record right now is kind of rocky, but it's not his fault. I mean, he was a late replacement in one of the bouts, and he's still a young fighter as far as MMA. And so he still has a lot to learn, but he's still a kid to watch out for. Stephen Thompson, don't forget that name. Make sure you check him out on FS1 in the preliminary cards. And then, of course, Alex Caceres, but he's in the Facebook card, so don't forget to check him out.
Your boy Bruce
and
Leroy.
Then, of course, the main event for the FS1 preliminary cards, my boy Mike Ritchie from the TriStar Modeling Agency. I saw his headshots. He just shot some new ones. Look very good. I think he's going to have a nice commercial.
Good headshots equal great performance here on 5 Round MMA.
So with that said, let's get to the main card.
So let's begin with the main card. We start off with Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Pat Healy.
The Russian.
20-0, Albert. Can you pronounce his name? Does he deserve to be in the UFC?
I really hope I could. Let me try it.
He better because he's 20-0.
That was pretty good.
20-0.
He just beat Abu Tarhilo, who I do not know his name because there's a reason, because he doesn't belong in the UFC. But Nurmagomedov does belong in the UFC. This is actually a pretty big fight.
I think so. He's a sleeper, I think.
Yeah, he is a big sleeper, and people need to watch out for him. And he's in the lightweight division, which is a very interesting division to be in right now.
Well, then Pat Healy just come off a win, but it got stripped.
He beat Jim Miller, which is overturned by the commission.
Yeah, it was a no contest.
Yeah.
Was it for marijuana use, was it? Or,
I don't remember.
He tested positive for marijuana.
Okay.
But
he is a good fighter, too. His last loss was to Josh Thompson, which, I mean, that's not nothing to be sad about. I mean, Josh Thompson is tearing up the division, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we pretty much got two fighters that could probably reform this lightweight division.
Yeah, I think
because the top is getting restructured, and now we get in the middle, the meat of it being restructured too. So that way we don't see the same names over. We don't see Jim Miller always, Nate Diaz. You know, these guys are pretty much restructuring the lightweight division, and then we'll probably see who's going to come up on top.
Yeah.
So now we have an important heavyweight matchup. It's really important for one of these winners and establish himself in the heavyweight. We have Brandon Schaub versus Matt Mitrione, and I know you're excited about this one.
You got ahead of yourself, but I'm not excited at all. I think we saw this fight in Tough, didn't we? Schwab versus Mitrione. If we didn't, it's a good thing we didn't. If we did, then it's already been taken care of. But pretty much, I think they did this matchup because both guys really need to win really bad. Even though Brandon is coming off a win against LeVar Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been so iffy in this heavyweight division.
Yeah.
He really needs to get a string of wins to pretty much say like, oh, I belong in the heavyweight division.
Well, I mean,
and even though Mitrione, the same thing.
Mitrione has so much hype behind him because he was
and he is coming off
a
win.
Both Schaub and Mitrione got in the MMA game late because they were in the NFL. But if you're gonna pick one who has more upside, it's gonna be Brendan Schaub.
Yeah.
He was in the finale of his season Tough, and he's 30 years old as opposed to Mitrione, who's 35 years old.
Yeah.
So if there's one guy, who needs this win badly, it's gonna be Brendan Schaub.
The only thing about Brendan Schaub though is you question his chin. I mean, how many times has he been knocked
down?
Yeah,
his last two losses have been by KO. So
and even though I don't like Matt Mitrione, he is known to have knockout power.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but that's all. This matchup is
the thing about Matt Mitrione. He always comes in cocky, so you can take advantage of certain spots.
Yeah. I think the better fighter is Brandon. but Mitrione has the heavy hands, and Brandon also has the questionable chin. So.
Well, we see last time Brendan Schaub's fight with LeVar Johnson, he was scared of his knockout power.
Yeah,
what did he do?
And that's why he quickly went for the takedown.
So we could see.
So the next fight, it's a middleweight bout. It's Costa Philippou versus Lorenz Larkin. Oh wait, no, it's Francis Carmona.
Should have been Lorenz Larkin.
It should be Lorenz Larkin because he won that fight. I don't care what the judges say. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Even though Francis Carmona is part of the TriStar model industry, you're going against the model industry.
Look,
the TriStar, the Trinity.
But he belongs to the model. He's a pretty good model. I'm not saying he's not. Francisco, don't get it wrong. Francis Carmona is a good model.
Could take a pretty good headshot, right?
His headshots are fantastic. But he lost that fight against Lorenz Larkin, and Lorenz Larkin deserves this fight because pretty much the winner out of here might get a title shot because Philippou.
I don't think so.
Well, why not?
No, honestly,
I think it's
Philippou was still on his tear.
But like Costa, his hype was like in December of last year.
Yeah,
that's when he beat Tim. That's when he beat Tim Bosch.
You can't deny that he's still on his streak.
Like, there's no way, but we just saw
he was on a high note.
He beat all the top fighters. Why would he not be up there? Who else is there? Okay,
we just saw the alligator.
Okay, we saw the alligator.
I'm just saying,
but I'm saying these guys are potentially going to be the next one though. After that,
no, you just said this fight should be a number one contender.
He's been hurt for so long, people forgot about him. You remember after you beat Tim Bosch, he was like on the high mark. He was like, "I'm the next shot, I'm a title shot." But that was back in December. Yeah, he's fought since December. He needs to get.
It's almost December again.
You just overlook his winning streak. I mean,
I know that too, but I'm saying he needs to get named.
That's true.
Yeah, he needs to get like just his name out there again. He's out for so long that he needs to get back out there.
I forgot how he even looks like. Honestly,
but like
he has like tattoos of little boxing gloves,
like a dog with like a boxing glove.
So
let's move on to the co-main event.
But wait! I still want to tell a little bit about Francis Carmona. I mean, it's not. Lorenz Larkin did beat him.
Yeah,
but the guy is no joke. I mean, Francis Carmona is a big 185er, and he just like GSP has a vicious ground game. And he can probably possibly take down anybody and hold him down there in this division.
Even though his half of his losses have come by submission. Carmona,
but I mean, now I think he's a different.
That was 2008, by the way. His last loss was in 2008. So.
I mean, if you look at his last fights, I mean, the guy he's been doing work. So
So let's move on to the co-main event. We have the interim bantamweight champion
soon to be
Renan Barão versus the challenger Eddie
soon to
Wineland.
be the official bantamweight champion, right?
Yeah. That's what
Renan Barão considers himself the champion.
Yeah. I saw that.
That's what he should. He's already defended with twice already. Yeah, so
and he beat all the top fighters.
Yeah, I find it baloney that it took so long for Dana White to threaten Dominic Cruz, be like, hey, if you're not going to defend your title, you're not healthy enough, I'm going to strip you of the title.
Yeah, after almost 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's baloney. I think right now Renan Barão is the champion at the bantamweight division.
What helped,
and right so.
Yeah, what helped Dominic Cruz in that and winning for so long was Renan Barão got hurt himself.
Yeah.
So I think that's what. If
even
if
he
Renan
got
Barão was
hurt,
healthy,
but it wasn't a long period of time, though.
Yeah. Speaking about that injury, that's the reason why we didn't see this matchup earlier in the year.
Yeah, it was like 2-3 months ago. That was
good thing they put this on the back burner. But I mean, not to beat Eddie Wineland down, but I don't give him that much of a shot because he does have his loss rate against Uriah Faber and Joseph Benavidez before he dropped down to flyweight.
Yeah. I mean, but to give him some credit, those were both decision losses.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
he's a tough kid. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, he's a tough kid, but Uriah Faber got destroyed by Renan Barão.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Renan Barão is on a different level, I think, of everybody else.
That's what I'm saying. That's why not to punch him while he's down or whatever, but I don't really see Eddie Wineland winning this fight in any way.
Yeah, I think Renan Barão lost his first fight ever, his first pro fight.
Yeah, and then he went on his ridiculous 30 fights.
He's 30-1 now. He lost his first pro fight.
Now he's 30-1. Barão versus Dominic Cruz will be really exciting if that matchup does take place.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the light heavyweight championship, the main event of the night.
Oh yeah,
UFC
I completely forgot about that.
Is John Bone Jones versus upset of the year for Albert, Alexander Gustafsson.
2 title fights on one card.
One thing we have to get out of the way because I think there's already controversy here.
Why?
Because they're trying to sell this fight as in they both have the same amount of reach and they still have the same amount of length.
But Gustafsson said that.
But technically, everything I read, Gustafsson has a way shorter reach than
I saw
John Bone Jones
earlier this week. Gustafsson said that's wrong. He has like an 80-inch reach now.
So
I guess it grew.
So his reach grew.
He says that. He said that's wrong. Whatever they have listed, it's wrong. Because it's longer.
Everything I look up, his reach is clearly way smaller than John Bone Jones. And the whole point of this fight is to say, look, it's not my reach why I'm good. It's because, I'm good.
But besides the reach, does Gustafsson have enough tools in the tool bag to...
I think so.
To beat John Bones Jones? What tools does he have?
It's his hands. The guy has shown he has knockout power.
Or
and
his
Jones
elbows,
has shown he might have a questionable chin.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, I think he has.
No, he hasn't.
I think he has.
I don't think no one's punched him hard enough.
People were saying
like
this match is exciting because they're both 6'4", both long, lanky, big guys. But I pose this question to you guys: who would have the better NFL combine numbers? Like who would run faster? Who would bench more?
Jones.
You know what I mean?
Jones.
So shouldn't that if you're going on pure athleticism, so wouldn't John Jones be the favorite, right?
Yeah,
so.
I totally
but
agree.
You forget about Gustafsson's hands, man.
But I
you
think
fight besides with your hands. You fight with your feet work. You fight with your wrestling. You fight with your jiu-jitsu. It's not just your hands.
I'll tell you this though. I bet you John Jones takes him down rather than stand up with them.
Oh yeah, but,
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I totally see that.
I want to get excited for John Jones whenever he fights, but
I
then,
never get excited. Never in my life have I gotten excited.
I never do because I know he's gonna win and he's gonna win brutally. So it's like, unless I see a real challenge from him, I'm not gonna be excited to watch him fight.
Well, that's kind of funny that you say that because people want to see knockouts. People want to see.
Yeah.
Well,
his
I'm not gonna lie. The only
finishes.
reason I saw that Floyd Mayweather fight was because I want to see his.
You want to see Mayweather get knocked out? Oh, okay.
And that, to touch you, the only reason I tune in is see
Big Game's disagreeing with you already.
Oh, what? and the only reason I see a John Jones fight is just because I do pray a lot that he would get knocked out. So I always hope for that knockout.
I don't know. I just don't see anybody beating this guy for a while.
Yeah, I don't either.
I agree with you, but I can wish, right?
Yeah.
Wish upon a star.
That's pretty much it to cover the UFC 165.
Oh, we're doing a picks?
Yeah.
Brought to you by MMAVictor.com.
That was my next point. At MMAVictor.com, we'll make our picks. I'll make the league. Yeah, everybody can join. I'll put about 20, 30 people.
I'll even give you guys a sneak peek. I'm going Khabib. No, my God.
We'll also have the link on our website, too.
Yeah.
So you can check out FiveRoundMMA.com and click on the link, and it'll take you directly to our MMA Victor pool. So check that out.
Let's start with the main card. Let's make our picks here. Is Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Well, of course. That's what I have.
Yeah.
I got him, too.
So we all have Nurmagomedov. Then we have Brandon Schaub versus Matt Mitchell. You have to pick.
I guess I'm going to pick Brandon.
I got Schaub too. I think he needs to win more. He's more athletic than.
I think Matt Meehead is better than Brandon Schaub, and you guys will see that on Saturday if he doesn't come in cocky. So if one knockout power, goodbye Brandon Schaub. I go Matt Mitrione. Now next we have the middleweight bout: Costa Philippou versus Francis Carmo.
Of course, I can't go against the TriStar Modeling Agency.
What?
I'm going Francis Carmo.
Oh, this whole time you were like, Costa Philippou should be the next #1 contender. Blah blah blah.
It was just tricking you guys.
I'm going for Francis Carmo just because Costa Philippou's been out for so long.
I think I'm going Costa Philippou. I think you guys are giving too much credit to Francis Carmo.
I'm saying
especially
time off.
Yeah.
Just because they have time off doesn't
you guys
mean
are going to make me start bringing the headshots in because I don't think you guys believe it.
The rust, but
I'm going to start bringing in the headshots because obviously you guys don't see it.
It's not about looks.
Oh,
it's about fighting stuff.
It has everything to do with looks. That's how I pick all my opponents.
So next we go Henan Brow versus Eddie Wineland.
Henan Brow.
Yeah, I'm going to go Henan Brow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to talk down to Eddie Wineland because he is a tough fighter, but Henan Brow is just a beast.
Yeah, I got Henan Brow as well. And then let's move on to the light heavyweight championship, the main event: John Bone Jones versus Alexander
If you thought the Silva thing was an upset, this is the true upset right here because Gustafsson is going to clearly knock out John Bone Jones. Not because John Bone Jones was joking around in the octagon, because Gustafsson catched him the way he's supposed to in a combination, dog.
John Jones by whatever way he wants.
I'll tell you exactly how it's going to happen. John Bone Jones wins, takes him down, elbows, ground and pound.
Cuts him open.
Yeah, and TKO stoppage.
Most likely, but I'm going to go with Gustafsson.
So that's our picks, MMAVictor.com, and that's our show.
That's our show. All right, guys. So stick around next week. We'll have a recap of UFC 165. But until then, make sure to follow us on Twitter at FiveRoundMMA. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook, like us on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram, so check out our photos there. I think we might be on MySpace pretty soon too, right?
No, that's not gonna happen.
No. Scratch the MySpace thing. But also be sure to check out FiveRoundMMA.com for weekly articles and commentaries and the day's top headlines. I want to thank all of our sponsors, starting off with Honey Badger Performance Energy Drinks. Excuse me. Go to drinkhoneybadger.com and grab a scoop to get the most out of your workout. I want to thank the Madhouse clothing line, clothes for the fighter and fight fanatic. Go shop themadhouse.com and follow them on Twitter at the Madhouse MMA. Also, a big thank you to MMA Victor, Fancy MMA. Test your MMA knowledge and go play against your friends, fans around the world, and make your picks at MMAVictor.com and follow them on Twitter at MMA Victor. And a big thank you to Top Rated MMA, makers of 100% American-made MMA apparel. Go shop topratedmma.com and follow them on Twitter at topratedmma. Albert, got some final words?
Yeah, I just want to thank executive producer Guillermo Cita, or sound engineer Steven Razzle with Razzle Records. Check them out for any of your audio needs. Our technicians out there, Big Game, Ollie the Trolley, and thanks everybody for listening.
Cream of the crop.